Happy Friday, Friday again. I've literally just stepped out of my car. I've got back from a 3.5 hour drive back from Stratford, where I attend a once a quarter mastermind group, essentially, for people in and around the accounting industry, called the Accounting Influencers Roundtable. And I've committed to doing these Friday updates, so I stepped out of the car and I've turned my camera on, and this is what I'm doing, and here we are. So my thoughts today might be a little bit muddled, but I do have lots of thoughts. I'm going to try and keep this as brief as possible, not to take up loads of your time. But really what struck me this week is the power of the room of people that you're in. So I did a LinkedIn post a couple of weeks ago about being in the right room, and about how if you're the smartest person in the room, you should find a new room and all that stuff. And we've all heard that before. If you run a business, you'll have heard it before. But it really hits home when I go and spend time with a group of people who are cleverer than me, who have achieved more, who are further along in their careers, businesses, who have different insights to me on the same problems. And I always leave those scenarios with my little brain whirring and having been massively inspired. And another thing I got to do this week was to go out for a dinner with a set of fintech founders. And that was another time this week where just the richness of conversation and the opportunities and idea sharing and ideas creation for collaboration amongst businesses is just so strong that you can't help but come away from those things inspired. But something else that's really struck me this week, and I was thinking about on my drive home, is myself and another member of the group pulled together some data, and I won't go into the nitty gritty of the data, but I'll just go into the theme around female representation in accountancy, specifically in larger female-founded firms. And I've known that when I started Mazuma 17 years ago, I spent a lot of time in those first 10 years being the only woman in the room. And on one hand, you get used to it, and on the other hand, it's incredibly lonely. It is incredibly lonely being the only person that looks like you in a room. And I've talked before about some of the prejudices I've had to overcome and how hard it is to be a female founder in a male-dominated space. But looking at some of those statistics today and thinking about my experience and seeing the reactions of a set of really smart people in that room made me realise that I, as a female founder, have so much more to do. I have been smashing glass ceilings in this space since I was 23. I have been doing things that people have quite literally told me I can't do and that will never work as a business. And I have consistently outperformed expectation and, like I said, smashed those glass ceilings. And yet I'm still an anomaly. I'm still a huge minority, vast minority, however you want to phrase it. I'm still a real minority in this space. And running the figures today was really interesting and also really sad. And I felt deeply saddened about where we're at as a profession, as an industry, and that there is still so much more to do. And this is a long game. And it made me think about a few things. It made me think about the kind of concept of this mastermind, sharing this information with my peers, their reaction to it, but then the call to arms that came from that, which was a set of people who kind of sat there and went, wow, that's a problem. And then went, as a collective, how do we fix it? How do we start going about changing this? And that's the power of the room. That's the power of it. And it made me think about a few things. It made me think about the fact that I go and I get a lot out of that space. And I feel like sometimes I take more than I give in terms of knowledge and people's time and their willingness to kind of share insight with me. in this instance, I realised that it's not just about me and what I can get out of a room. It's actually about what I can put into the room as well. And that my insights and different perspectives have value, and that I have a responsibility to share some of that if I really want to elicit change. And it also made me think about the phrase, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And when you have the right room and you've got the right people around you, if you've got what looks like an Everest of a problem to overcome, you go together. Nobody gets to the top alone. It is a team sport. And today, I think just with the right people in the room, having great reactions to some data that was being shared and a problem presented and a cultural problem to overcome in a space, they just looked at it and went, right, how do we solve this? Yeah, let's go. And I loved that. And it made me think about that collaboration aspect. And yeah, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And if you're putting yourself in a room of people that you think are better than you, then you're going to get incredible answers. But also that I now more than ever deeply, deeply feel like just because I've smashed the glass ceilings doesn't mean it's done. I now have a responsibility to not pull the ladder up behind me, but to reach a hand back and help other women who want to follow this path along the same journey. If I can help them get here in half the time because they've not had to overcome half the barriers that I did when I got here, then that is a result way beyond any kind of business achievement I'm going to make. But if I can use what I've done and help them step through the shattered glass of what I've done into something better, I will do everything in my power to do that. So that's been my week. Yeah, nothing like a long drive on your way home to really mull things over. And I'm just really grateful to have amazing people around me that I can call on, and people that challenge me and that are receptive to sometimes some of my quite challenging opinions and data sets about the state of play, and will come with me on the journey. So put yourself in the right room, find those people, and when you do, tell me about what difference it's made to you personally and professionally, and how that's going to help you change your world.